electricity. No team has come to life so dramatically as Pittsburgh and the Pirates.
Raise the Jolly Roger!
It was believed they were just happy to be here, but their drive has proven to be imperishable. Now they have the Cardinals on the precipice of defeat. Neither a winning tradition nor a losing past will decide this game. It will be a test of character settled by these players here and now.
Depends on how you're wired individually, and you can run with it.
The Cardinals will never face such a dire situation in a more hostile environment.
As if this crowd needed anything to get them going even more.
While the Pirates will find out if they have the determination to stamp out their opponent.
Pittsburgh, they're not going to quit, neither are we.
It's Game 4.
Temperatures were in the mid-80s for yesterday's Game 3. Right now it is 58 degrees in Pittsburgh. But the fans are revved up here, all decked out in black and hoping this is a clinching game for their Pirates. You are watching the 2013 National League Division Series coverage on TBS, presented by T-Mobile. Game 4 on TBS of the National League Division Series, and the Pirates, you know, it's been 21 years since they've gotten into postseason. 34 years since they've won a postseason series, and they can do it today. As we welcome you to PNC Park, everyone, I'm Dick Stockton along with Bob Renly. We'll be hearing from Matt Weiner shortly. And one of the reasons the Pirates have their lead is because of the superb hitting of the 5, 6, 7 hitters in their lineup.
Yeah, Dick, when you think about it, the number 1 and 2 hitters, Starling Marte, Neil Walker, have done hardly anything in this series. Andrew McCutchen having a bang-up series as far as the batting average goes, but the guys that have done the damage are the guys you mentioned. Pedro Alvarez, Marlon Byrd, and Russell Martin. Not only driving in the runs, hitting the ball out of the ballpark, hitting for a high average, but getting those timely knocks. Key moments in the game where you can really feel the momentum swing to that third base dugout.
And they have given the Pirates a tremendous boost offensively. Meanwhile, the Cardinals need to avoid elimination, and they're relying on a 22-year-old rookie right-hander, Michael Wacha. But that may be deceptive as far as in his inexperience is concerned.
Well, there's a lot of experience in the core group of Cardinals, but Wacha making his first postseason start. We talked to Mike Matheny earlier today. He has the ultimate confidence in this young man. He said from the day he first met this guy, he could sense that he was something special, a guy that would be up to the task like he's facing today. The first pitcher to start a postseason game less than 2 years after being drafted since Barry Zito did so for the Oakland A's back in 2000.
And in his last start, came within 1 out of pitching a no-hitter, and he'll be posed by Charlie Morton on the mound for the Pirates. First pitch coming up.
League Division Series coverage on TBS is brought to you by Arby's. Try the new Smokehouse Brisket Sandwich today. By DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. By Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility, what's your policy? And by Orville Redenbachers. It's game time. Get your Orville ready.
Welcome back to PNC Park. Fans making their way over the Clemente Bridge to come into this ballpark. And some early morning rain giving way to cloudy skies, and it's windy. 58 degrees as we get underway. And right now, let's take a look at our batting order for the Pirates. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Matt Carpenter will lead off. Second base, Carlos Beltran will be in right field. Matt Holliday hitting third and left. And Matt Adams is back in the cleanup spot at first base. Yadier Molina will be hitting fifth behind the plate. John Jay is the center fielder, followed by David Freese at third base. Pete Kozma once again starts at shortstop. And Michael Wacha batting ninth, the pitcher. And Charlie Morton will be on the mound. 7-4 on the year for the Pirates and a 3.26 earned run average.
And this is the defense that'll be behind Charlie Morton in the game here at PNC Park this afternoon. Starling Marte in left field. Andrew McCutchen, the 2012 Gold Glove winner, in center. Marlon Byrd over in right field. It'll be Alvarez and Barmas on the left side of the infield. Walker and Morneau on the right side. Russell Martin, who had an outstanding day behind the plate yesterday for the Pirates, blocking all those pitches in the dirt, will be behind the plate for right-hander Charlie Morton.
Charlie Morton, who's been battered by the Cardinals, and this should be very interesting, Bob, is making his postseason debut as well as the 22-year-old Michael Wacha.
You see the numbers for Morton. He started the season on the disabled list, recovering from right elbow surgery. You see his numbers in 20 starts for the Buccos up here at the major league level this year. He's a ground ball pitcher, relies heavily on a sinking two-seam fastball, a curveball, and occasional straight changeup.
Native of Reading, Connecticut, 29-year-old right-hander. Also suffered a foot injury early in September against the Cardinals, plantar fasciitis. So he has come back from ailments but did finish strong. 6-2 was his record in the second half of this year.
Yeah, his MO is he wants to pitch to early contact. Uses that sinking fastball down low in the strike zone. He'll mix in the curveball as he sees fit. Rarely changes speeds with that straight changeup. Cardinals should have no problems putting the ball in play against Charlie Morton. Whether they can get base hits will be another story.
Well, the Cardinals know what it's like to have to battle back. 2-1 in elimination games. And this is a team that was trailing a couple of years ago to the Phillies. Came back and won the division series in a dramatic fifth-game pitchers duel. And last year won Game 5 on the road against the Washington Nationals. So sometimes they do it the hard way, Bob, as you look at the fact that when they have trailed 2-1 in the division series, both of Game 4s were at home. This one, of course, is not.
Well, talking to the Cardinals in the clubhouse and on the field before the ball game, it's business as usual, which is what Mike Matheny says got them to this point, so they're not going to change anything now.
This is an even keel team led by an even keel manager and Mike Matheny. And we're set to go. Matt Carpenter in the box. Leading off against Morton, and the first pitch is a fastball for a strike. Matt Carpenter's only hit in this series is a single in Game 1 in the big 7-run third inning for St. Louis. 0-2.
Well, a lot of people that have followed the Cardinals all season, especially down the stretch, will tell you that when Matt Carpenter got to 199 hits on the season, something changed in his approach at the plate in an effort to get that elusive 200th hit of the season.
Strikes out on 3 pitches, and Morton jumps off to a solid start.
Comes on the curveball, starts at belt high, drops it down there below the knees. It's what they call a downer, old-fashioned drop ball.
Well, now here is Carlos Beltran, who's been nothing short of sensational for the Cardinals in this series. He has driven in 6 runs. He drove in all 3 of their runs yesterday in the 5-3 loss, has hit 2 home runs, and continues his mastery of postseason play despite a fall off in the second half of the regular year.
And it was Carlos Beltran that was talking about his team after yesterday's game in the clubhouse. He wasn't quite sure what to expect when he got back into the Cardinals locker room, but he said everybody had their heads up, going about their business as normal, so he didn't feel there was any need to say anything.
2 balls and a strike to Beltran, who's one of the several Cardinal hitters who have done well against Morton. Beltran 6 for 15, hitting an even 400. Fouls that behind the Cardinal dugout, and the count is even 2-2.
It goes without saying the Cardinals would be well served to do something early in this game and try to quiet this PNC crowd. As raucous an atmosphere as you can imagine.
And the crowd, if not Morton, wanted that pitch, and it's now 3-2 on Beltran. Pirates have won 8 of 11 against the Cardinals in both the regular season and in this playoff. And here's a shot to the right of the second baseman, Neil Walker, who throws out Carlos Beltran, and there are 2 away, so they get a dangerous hitter. And 2 down here with Matt Holliday coming up. And Bob, right now, let's take a look at our Chevrolet pitch tracks.
Yeah, we talked about Morton featuring that two-seam fastball. He will occasionally throw a four-seamer when he wants to elevate it high in the strike zone. The big curveball we've seen already to strike out Matt Carpenter in this game. And Morton himself said that changeup is a pitch that he rarely uses, only 6% of the time during the regular season.
So Matt Holliday, who has hit .320, including a home run against Morton, fouls off a fastball for strike one. Holliday is 2 for 12 in the series with a single and a double in game one. And I guess you symbolize the hard hit balls that the Cardinals had against Francisco Liriano with a liner to right field to end yesterday's third inning with the bases loaded. Down low, and it's 1-1.
It was interesting listening to Charlie Morton talk yesterday about his recovery from the right elbow surgery and how during the course of his rehab he scrapped some of his pitches. He used to throw a cutter, used to throw a lot more four-seamers, used to throw an occasional slider. He's really simplified his arsenal.
And he gets ahead of Holliday. 1-2. Charlie Morton 0-6 in 8 starts since his last win against the Cardinals back in 11. And Holliday stays alive by fouling it off. Lifetime, Charlie Morton 2-9 with a 6.52 ERA against this ball club. 0-2 this year. And it goes on and on. Checking his swing is Holliday as they check with the first base umpire Jim Joyce. He did not go around.
Very close that time.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Matt Holliday. Infield and outfield playing back and straight away, and a shot base hit past Walker into right field. So Matt Holliday has his 3rd hit of the series, a 2-out single. And that'll bring up Matt Adams.
Well, that's the approach that the Cardinals hitting coach John Mabry as well as their bench coach Mike Aldretti has been talking about throughout this series. They want the Cardinal hitters to think up the middle opposite way. That time Holliday stayed on that pitch, drove it into right field for the first hit of the game.
So here is big Matt Adams, who's hitting .364 but still looking for his first RBI in this series, and takes down low ball 1 as you see the shift once again with Barmes playing to the right of second base. He's the shortstop, of course. Alvarez to the left and Neil Walker in shallow right. And a ground ball hit perfectly to Walker, who makes the play in time. Throw got Morneau off the base, but he got back in time to get Adams as the Cardinals are retired with just a hit. And playing in perfect position with the shift, Morneau gets his foot on the bag. Let's take a look at our Pirate batting order, brought to you by T-Mobile. Starling Marte, Neil Walker, and Andrew McCutchen, followed by Justin Morneau, Marlon Byrd, and Pedro Alvarez. And the bottom 3, Russell Martin, Clint Barmes, and the pitcher Charlie Morton against Michael Wacha. First pitch inside, ball 1. So here's Wacha, 4-1 on the year with a 2.78 earned run average. A rookie called up May the 30th, appeared in only 15 games. And a pop-up to shallow left field. Cosma makes the play, and Marte is retired for out number 1. Neil Walker, 0 for 13 in this series. Did get a hit in the wild card game against the Reds last Tuesday. Switch hitter. And the Pittsburgh native takes a strike.
You can see from Michael Wacha's delivery, he takes full advantage of that 6'6" frame, stands tall on the rubber, gets that ball going downhill, throws almost straight over the top.
He held the Pirates scoreless on just 2 hits in his 2 appearances. One as a starter, the other as a reliever. As you mentioned, Mike Matheny likes his poise for a 22-year-old, and a blazing fastball that is fouled back, and it's 1-2 to Walker.
How about this? Michael Wacha has thrown 170 innings as a professional baseball player. 106 of those have come at the minor league level.
And Mike Matheny, no compunctions in going with the rookie. In fact, he has gone with a lot of rookie relievers in this series. We've seen them. And going with the rookie here, Shelby Miller, who was outstanding this year, has been relegated to the bullpen. He had not done well against the Pirates this season. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Walker goes down for out number 2.
Well, he did need his defense on that at bat, but this is how the Cardinals are going to line him up behind Michael Wacha today. Matt Holliday, John Jay, Carlos Beltran left to right across the outfield. It'll be David Freese at third base, Pete Kozma at shortstop, Matt Carpenter at second base, Big Matt Adams over at first, Yadier Molina behind the plate, and Michael Wacha on the mound for the Cardinals.
And with 2 down, here's Andrew McCutchen, who's hitting .538 in the playoffs and takes strike 1. He was on base 4 times in game 3 yesterday. His only extra base hit of the 5 hits he has been a double in the playoffs, and the count 1-1 to McCutchen. That's pretty good hitting. You talked about Bird, Alvarez, and Martin when we got underway at the top, but McCutchen has been no slouch either as he goes after the fastball. 1-2. Pirates are a team that feasts on fastballs. And McCutchen sees another one and fights it off, and it remains 1-2.
Yeah, Pirates love to hit that fastball. Wacha has a big one in the mid to upper 90s, likes to elevate it at the top of the strike zone. Talking to Jay Bell, the Pirates hitting coach, he would much prefer his team chase high fastballs out of the zone than chase that slider in the dirt, or that changeup in the dirt rather.
Well, McCutchen goes down, so 2 strikeouts for Wacha in his first inning in postseason play. We've completed 1, no score. Be the first to know the latest news on all your teams with the Bleacher Report's Team Stream app. Stay 1 step ahead. Check out Team Stream on your phone's app store today. Cardinals second inning, and Yadier Molina leading off against Charlie Morton and takes strike 1. Molina hit cleanup in yesterday's game 3, only the 2nd time he was in that spot all year. Went 0 for 3. Now back in the 5th position, 4 for 11 in the series as a solo homer in game 2.
Yeah, Mike Matheny is just glad to see his regular catcher behind the plate and at the plate in this game today. He took a foul tip off his fingertips of the glove hand. There's a lengthy delay in the ball game, but declared himself ready to go as he usually does.
Here's the changeup, and it misses, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes to Molina. The Cardinals will be seeing changeup, sinker from Morton. John Jay is on deck, followed by David Freese. There's a breaking ball. 2-2 now to the catcher.
Cloudy day here in Pittsburgh, which should help the hitters. We saw the shadows in the early part of the ball game yesterday, which will be coming up here in a few innings, and some of the hitters, and especially the left fielder, had issues with the sun in yesterday's ball game. Not a factor right now.
Full count to Molina, who is the Cardinals' top hitter this season and 4th in the league with a .319 at batting average, his career best. Here's the payoff pitch And a ground ball up the middle, fielded by Barmas, and Molina is retired for the first down. Well, the Cardinals have struggled in the area that they've excelled. Runners in scoring position. For more, here's Matt Weiner.
Well, thank you, Dick. After a season of unprecedented success in that category, you're right. The Cardinals are just 3 of 20 through 3 games of this NLDS with runners in scoring position, while the Bucs are 6 of 18. Of course, the Cardinals set a record in that category in recorded history with a .333 batting average over the season. Mike Matheny told us today, though, that now is not the time to start swinging for the fences, despite an offense that led the National League without a lot of home runs. He says with a different mindset, the Cards might have 5 20 home run hitters this season, but it's his team's, quote, selfless at-bats that won 97 games in the regular season. He expects those same at-bats today.
All right, Matt, and why change what has been a successful format? Don't forget, Cardinals are only behind 2-1. I know they can be eliminated, but it's only a difference of 1 game. And a ground ball off the bat of John Jay, hit to Walker. So there have been 4 ground ball outs so far. And there are 2 down here in the second.
And that bodes well for Charlie Morton and the Pirates. When he's keeping the ball on the ground, that's when he's at his best.
That'll bring up David Freese, who against Morton in his career has hit .294 and has gone deep on 1 occasion. Fastball misses away, and it's 1-0. And it's 2 balls and no strikes to Freese, who is 2 for 10 in the 3 games. Both hits coming in the opening game, and a 2-run double sparking the Cardinals. Shortstop Barmas. 3 ground balls, 3 outs in the second inning for Charlie Morton. In the middle of the second, 0-0. Want to know the secrets of being a home run hitter? Well, Tim Ferriss shows you how to knock it out of the park. Go to upwave.com/baseball. Pirates second inning, and Justin Morneau leading off against Michael Wacha. And ball 1. Morneau has hit safely in all 4 games that the Pirates have played in these playoffs. And in game 2 was 2 for 5, including a double. And Wacha falls behind Morneau 2-0. Marlon Byrd and Pedro Alvarez will follow, and there's a pop fly in foul territory. David Freese makes the play. And there's 1 away. Michael Wacha is making his 10th major league start, and that ties the fewest by a Cardinal pitcher making his first career postseason start. You have to go back to October 1943. Al Brazel, the grizzled left-hander for the Cardinals, had pitched 9 starts before working that World Series. And so Michael Wacha coming into baseball fans who go back a long way in St. Louis select company, Bob.
Like Mr. Brazel had a real low arm angle there. Probably had a lot of tail, a lot of sink on that fastball. Real contrast in styles here today with Wacha on the mound for the Cardinals, a fly ball strikeout pitcher. 2 strikeouts, 2 fly balls so far. And Charlie Morton for the Pirates, a ground ball pitcher, and 2, 3, 4, 5 outs via the ground ball so far.
All the going according to plan. And by the way, that Brazel appearance, 70 years to the day that Wacha makes his 10th appearance. So 2 balls and a strike to Marlon Byrd, who has 5 RBIs, including a 2-run double, single that is, in the first inning of yesterday's game. It's one of those hitters you were talking about at the outset as he fouls it off. And it's 2-2 to Byrd with Alvarez on deck.
I had a long conversation with Pirates hitting coach Jay Bell before the ball game today, specifically about Marlon Byrd and Justin Morneau and the effect that they've had on this lineup. Not only lengthening the lineup, adding more good hitters at the bottom, but the way they approach their at-bats, he's tried to impress upon these young Pirate hitters, stay up the middle of the field, gap to gap. That way you won't make too many mistakes. You won't get too far out in front of off-speed pitches. But it wasn't until Morneau and Bird came on board and they can visually see guys with that approach at the plate. Jay Bell said these guys nowadays are all visual learners. They need to see things to be convinced that it's true. And Bird and Morneau and their approach have really reinforced that with the younger hitters in this Pirates lineup.
And that really paid off for the Pirates. Morneau coming over from the Twins, Bird from the Mets. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and it's fouled away. And if you want to talk about a ballpark that's made to order, hitting into the gaps, it's this one.
Boy, especially that left center field gap. We talked about it in yesterday's ball game. They call it the north side notch out there just to the left of straightaway center, 410 feet from home plate.
Again, the 3-2 from Waka. And Bird stays alive, fouls it off.
And Marlon Bird has always been a very outspoken guy, great teammate everywhere he's been. They're talking with Clint Barmas about some of the finer points of the swing. Like having another coach on the field.
And a fastball, strike 3. Bird was on his way to first, thought that was ball 4, but it caught the outside corner, and Bird goes down. That's the 3rd strikeout for Waka.
97. I'll tell you, that's an unhittable strike right there.
When you have a changeup off a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, well, you know why the Cardinals think so much of this young right-hander. So with 2 down, here's Pedro Alvarez. Been one of the batting heroes as he takes strike 1. Alvarez has driven in a run in every game in the playoffs. 2 home runs and 6 runs driven in, and has delivered big time for the Buccos.
I expect to see a lot of change-ups in this matchup. Pedro Alvarez really struggles against off-speed pitches. Waka has that devastating straight changeup.
Alvarez with a homer in games 1 and 2. RBI single in the 8th inning of game 3, and that was the game winner. Alvarez getting the base hit, and then Russell Martin following with a base hit to give the Pirates the insurance run. First since Tim Salmon of the Angels in 2002. And he strikes out, so Michael Waka strikes out 2 batters in each of the first 2 innings. After 2, no score. MLB Fan Cave is coming back in 2014. Players, celebrities, concerts, and more. You can be a part of next season's team. Go to MLBFanCave.com and apply now. Pete Kozma will start it off for the Cardinals in the 3rd inning, the number 8 hitter, and takes a strike. He started at shortstop yesterday in game 3 and reached 3 times with a single, double, and a walk. Fouls this off, and count is 0-2 to him. Kozma, who was a hero for the Cardinals last year in the series against the Nationals in the division series. This is actually his rookie season. And a breaking ball hit in the air to left center field. Marte calls for it and makes the catch for out number 1. That is the first fly ball we've seen in this game.
I think it bears repeating, Dick, the way the Pirates were assembled with the idea of having a center fielder in center field and a center fielder in left field. Both Marte and McCutchen cover a lot of ground. We talked about that expansive gap in left center field. A lot of speed on that left side in the outfield.
Here's Michael Waka, who was 3 for 21 this year as a hitter. Takes strike 1. Did drive in 3 runs for the Cardinals. Waka, a native of Texarkana, Texas. And the count now 0-2 to him. So far in this series, the pitchers have done some damage to help their own cause. Count is 1-2 as Morton misses inside there. Pirates won the season series 10-9 and now have a 12-10 average lead if you count the playoffs, but have been dominant here at PNC Park. One-two curveball, strike three, and that is the second strikeout for Morton. And there are two down. Well, coming up next is game 3 of the ALDS series as the Red Sox look to end the Rays season. That's followed by game 4 of the other National League Division series. The Braves hope to stave off elimination against the Dodgers. Clay Buchholz and Alex Cobb, but Clayton Kershaw on short rest gets the call for the Dodgers against Freddie Garcia. That's interesting. Matt Carpenter up for the second time takes the ball.
Don Mattingly's made a lot of interesting moves already in this postseason. He brought his closer into a 7-run game last night. Hey, just win them.
2-0 the count, and Carpenter a strikeout victim his first time up, and Morton falling behind here. He has given up one hit, that to Matt Holliday, with 2 out in the first. And the first time he's been 3-0 to a hitter. Now 3-1 to Carpenter, who has 3 hits in 8 trips against Charlie Morton. Roll to second base, Neil Walker. And a 1-2-3 inning. 7 in a row set down by Morton. We're in the middle of the third. 0-0. You are watching the 2013 National League Division Series coverage on TBS, presented by T-Mobile. No score. Pirates batting in the third. And the bottom third of their order, Russell Martin, the catcher, leading off against young Michael Wacha, and takes up for ball 1. And we can talk about Martin's first sacrifice fly in almost 2 seasons, his 6 RBIs, driving in the insurance run yesterday. But I know, Bob, as a former catcher, you marvel at what he has done behind the plate, blocking everything in sight.
Well, and Clint Hurdle has marveled. He said that Russell Martin is the best on his knees, which means he blocks balls in the dirt as good as any catcher he's ever been around. And he was tested mightily yesterday. Francisco Liriano, about 2 out of every 3 sliders he threw yesterday ended up in the dirt. Yeah, this was Russell Martin hard at work in yesterday's ball game, digging him out. There was one wild pitch in the game. We're going to show it to you here next. Well, actually, we won't, because we had to get back to the action as Martin goes down on strikes.
That is the 3rd straight strikeout for Wacha, and the 5th in the game for the 22-year-old right-hander. So far, both pitchers are using their assets correctly. Pirates are striking out, and the Cardinals are hitting the ball on the ground. Here is Clint Barmas. There's a fastball.
Very little in this series has gone according to the script, but so far today the 2 pitchers have lived up to their billing. One a ground ball pitcher, the other a power strikeout pitcher.
Barmas has started 3 of the 4 games. He is 2 for 8. He had a single in game 3 and also had a base hit in the victory over the Reds in the wild card game here. There's the changeup, popped into shallow right field, and it's caught by Carpenter. So again, a rare ball hit in the air, the second one in the game, and Barmes is retired for the second half. That'll bring up the pitcher Charlie Morton, who was 5 for 36 at the plate in the regular season.
You see Walker's arsenal. We've seen that overpowering fastball up in the zone and the straight changeup. He does have a curveball, but about the only time he uses that pitch is if he has a lengthy at bat and has shown the hitter everything he's got. He may drop a curveball in there just to give him something else to look at.
Fires the fastball by Morton, and it's 2 strikes. Here's Carpenter. So 5 strikeouts for Walker in the first 3 innings, but he doesn't get Charlie Morton, who bounces to second. The end of the game is just the start of the story. Unguarded with Rachel Nichols premieres Friday night, October 25th at 10:30 Eastern and Pacific on CNN. Carlos Beltran, who passed the great Babe Ruth with 16 postseason home runs, now trailing Jim Thome by 1. Beltran is 8th all time and going against Charlie Morton, who has given up a single. Michael Wacha has retired the Pirates in order through the first 3. Beltran grounded to second his first time and takes ball 1 outside. Alvarez is playing practically where the shortstop normally plays, and Barmes closer to second, bunching toward the middle against Beltran. And for that matter, the outfield too bunched together to protect against gap shots. And Morton now falls behind 3-0 to the leadoff hitter. Matt Holliday is on deck and Matt Adams to follow here in the Cardinal 4th. Down low, ball 4. So second base runner for the Cardinals, a leadoff walk to Carlos Beltran, and that will bring up Matt Holliday, who has a single to right field his first time. Strike.
Yeah, normally with a big power hitter like Matt Holliday, you don't think about leaving a hole on the right side of the infield. But given his approach in this series, this plays right into his hands. Pirates have been pitching him away. He's been shooting the ball to the opposite field, both for base hits and occasionally for lineouts.
And a ground ball hit to Barmes, to Walker, not in time to first. Holliday beats the throw. So he's on a fielder's choice, and Beltran is retired.
Nice effort by the Pirates defense, but the ball just wasn't hit hard enough to turn a double play. Barmes had to come a long way in to get to that ball. The submarine throw on to Walker, and Holliday able to leg it out at first base for a fielder's choice.
So with 1 out and Holliday the base runner, here is Matt Adams, who grounded out to the second baseman his first time up. First pitch is a strike, and now the shift is on, but Walker is playing much farther in than he did the first time. Third baseman and the shortstop still bunched towards second base, and there's the bunt attempt, and it's fouled off. And it's 0-2 now to Adams.
Neil Walker playing more shallow in this situation because there's a possibility of a double play should Adams hit a ground ball his direction. When Adams was up back in the first inning, there were 2 outs with a runner on first, and Walker went out there in shallow right field to cover as much ground as possible.
Adams more than getting the job done with Alan Craig out with a foot sprain that he suffered early in September, missing the final 23 games. Chases that pitch and strikes out. So a second out here. Adams is retired and Yadier Molina will come up, and the infield goes back to their normal positions. Third strikeout for Charlie Morton, and here is Molina, who grounded to Barmas at short his first time up. No score here in the top of the fourth inning in Pittsburgh. Pirates looking to wrap it up, leading 2-1 in the best of 5 against the Cardinals. And if the Cardinals stay alive, game 5 would be Wednesday back at Busch Stadium. We know that Adam Wainwright would be on the mound for the Cardinals, but no sign given yet by Clint Hurdle as to who the Pirate pitcher might be.
Clint Hurdle said he's not going to make an announcement till he has to. I don't blame him.
Why ruffle any feathers if there are feathers to be ruffled?
Yeah. Good numbers for Yadier Molina against Charlie Morton in his career. 400 average, 4 doubles, driven in 6 in only 20 at bats.
Chops it foul, and count now is 2 strikes. It seems that Morton either goes to 3-0 on hitters or gets ahead on 2 strikes. Crowd on its feet. Fly ball to center field. Plenty of room for McCutchen, and that'll do it. Beltran had the leadoff walk, but the Cardinals are retired, and in the middle of the 4th, still no score here in Pittsburgh. No score into the bottom of the 4th inning, and the top of the batting order for the Pirates. Starling Marte will start it off. Popped out to Pete Kozma his first time up, and takes strike 1 as Freese charging in, looking for the possible bunt by Marte. Talk about being economical. Neither pitcher has had to throw as many as 20 pitches in an inning through the first 3.5. There's a call strike, and 0-2 now to Marte. Wacha came within 1 batter of pitching a no-hitter in his last regular season start against the Washington Nationals. And there's a shot hit to second base, but Carpenter is there, and Marte is retired. That's 10 in a row set down by Wacha. And moments ago, we spoke with the Cardinals manager, Mike Matheny. Well, I guess so far the game has gone according to form, Mike.
Well, at least defensively and pitching wise, you know, the offense is starting to take some better at bats. Hopefully we can get something going, a little momentum.
Yeah, Mike, you told us earlier the confidence you had in Michael Wacha taking the ball under tough circumstance here at PNC Park today. Maybe you could tell the fans what it was about Michael Wacha that gave you that confidence.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. Obviously the stuff. You see he's got some above average stuff, especially for a young guy, but it's the makeup. You know, you can see we put him in some tough leverage spots, and he continues to answer the bell and continues to show that he's ready for it.
And of course he showed the Cardinals and Mike Matheny that in spring training, did all the right things that you expect from a rookie pitcher.
Yeah, Matheny said they actually had Wacha pitch in the first game of spring training to see how he would handle that little bit of pressure. They probably could have very easily made this pitching staff out of spring training, but they felt there were a few things he needed to fine-tune, so they sent him down to Memphis working with their pitching coach Brian Eversgard, and he tightened up some of the things they wanted him to tighten up, and has come back to the major leagues blazing.
Said he had a great disposition and he had the right confidence without being arrogant, and he would just keep his mouth shut, he said, ask questions and do the things that has earmarked him for this appearance today. And Neil Walker now with the count 2 balls and 2 strikes, struck out his first time up. Ground ball, big hop to Adams. And he makes the play, and there are 2 down. Well, right now, let's take a look at our Goodyear Superior Performance, Andrew McCutchen's postseason numbers.
It's hard to believe he could improve on his regular season numbers, but that's what he's done here in the postseason. Andrew McCutchen, a legitimate MVP candidate in the National League, having himself a big postseason.
Rousing .538 in 4 playoff games, including the wild card effort, and he's fouls the fastball back on the screen. 0-1 to McCutchen. Will turn 27 this week, on Thursday to be exact. And strike 2. 0-2 to McCutchen with 2 out here in the Pirate 4th inning. McCutchen said that he tries to look at the crowd every day before a game, and he says, I see passion. And that's the same thing that we, the players, have on the field. Lifts this out to shallow right field. Coming on and making the catch is Beltran, and another 1-2-3 inning. 12 in a row set down by Walker.
League Division Series coverage on TBS is brought to you by the all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead. And by Bank of America.
And a scoreless game 4 into the 5th inning here at PNC Park. John Jay will lead it off against Charlie Morton. Off-speed breaking ball in for a call strike. Jay bounced to second his first time up. Down low 1-1. John Jay now 8 for 17 against Morton, has had success. Way out in front of that, and it's 1-2. Cardinals ranked first in the National League with the most runs per game. Foul at the plate, but each team has scored the same amount of runs after 3 games, 13. How do you figure?
Well, those first 2 games were lopsided in each direction, 9-1 and 7-1, but very well played game last night. Back and forth battle. Looks like more of the same here this afternoon.
Game 2, truly a carbon copy of game 1 in reverse, as you pointed out. 3rd inning was the big inning. Pitcher played a role in getting things underway. Team that lost had a solo home run. Alvarez for Pittsburgh in game 1, Molina for the Cardinals in game 2, and so on down the line.
Defensive miscues by the losing team in both game 1 and game 2.
Yesterday, however, a different story. An exciting game, which the Cardinals came back and got even with the Pirates on several occasions until Pittsburgh scored 2 in the 8th inning to win 5-3. Joe Kelly gave a good account of himself yesterday for the Cardinals, starting against Francisco Liriano, who just wasn't himself. Ground ball, first base, Morneau. Unassisted, Jay's retired, and there's 1 away. Moments ago, we spoke with Pittsburgh manager Clint Hurdle. Well, Clint, we've got a terrific pitcher's duel early on here.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Exciting stuff.
Guys going at it in a different way. Waka obviously with the big fastball up in the zone and the straight changeup, getting some strikeouts and fly ball outs. But your guy seems to have his sinker working today.
Surely does. The sinker, he complements it with a curveball, you know, down in the zone. Good action. Let the guys play behind him.
Morton has gotten ahead of 7 Cardinal batters 0-2 and has retired all of them. Falls behind 1-0 to David Freese, who grounded to shortstop his first trip to the plate. Only hit of the game, Matt Holliday with an opposite field single with 2 out in the first inning. Morton was 7-4 on the year, but 6-2 in the second half of the season. And now it's 3-0 to Freese. Gets that over. The 3-1. Down low, ball 4, and the second walk issued by Morton. He walked the leadoff hitter Beltran last inning. No damage done, and now with 1 out, Freese is aboard and Pete Kozma stepping up.
10 out of 16 first pitch strikes for Charlie Morton, which is very important for any pitcher, but especially a sinker ball pitcher. Throw that low sinker in there for strike 1. If the batter puts it in play, it's probably going to be on the ground.
Here's Kozma, who has hit the only fly ball off the bat of a Cardinal hitter. Fly to left in the 3rd inning to start things as the throw goes over to keep Freese close. Now diving back. The other fly ball out was by Yadier Molina to end the 4th. Into the hole, through, past the dive of Barmes into left field, and Pete Kozma aboard. He was on 3 times yesterday in Game 3. Gets the second hit for the Cardinals as Freese goes to second with 1 out.
Well, it results in a base hit into left field, but that's exactly what Charlie Morton wanted right there. He wanted a ground ball at one of his defenders, possibly turn a double play. That one just happened to find a hole on the left side.
So there are 2 on for the first time in the game, and Michael Wacha took a called 3rd strike, looking to sacrifice. Alvarez and Morneau ready to charge from 1st and 3rd, and the bunt is fouled off for strike 1. Jose Oquendo flashing the signs at 3rd.
Now, there are some variations defensively on a 1st and 2nd bunt situation, but in general you want to bump that ball to the 3rd baseman. Make Alvarez come in and make the play.
And missing the bunt. Strike 2 now to Wacha.
As we mentioned, only 9 starts during the regular season for Michael Wacha. Only 1 sack bunt in those 9 starts.
And you wonder here whether he might be attempting to sacrifice with 2 strikes. Matt Carpenter, the on-deck hitter, on deck. The leadoff hitter for the team, and he bunts it fair and does the job. So with 2 strikes, Michael Wacha sacrifices runners into scoring position. Freese goes to 3rd and Kozma to 2nd, and 2 out with the leadoff hitter Carpenter coming up.
Wacha deadens that ball nicely on the right side of the infield to the point where Morneau's only play is to turn around and throw to Neil Walker covering the bag at first. 2 runners in scoring position now for the top of the Cardinals order.
So the sacrifice goes 3-4, and that was textbook. So Matt Carpenter up. He's 0 for 2, struck out and bounced to 2nd. Remember, the Cardinals are 3 for 20 with runners in scoring position so far in this series. And that after a phenomenal season in that department. coming in. Strike one to Carpenter. Breaking ball misses away, and it's 1-1. In the last two games, both losses for the Cardinals, they were 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Two down. Slice to left field and drifting out of play. So now it's 1-2 to Carpenter. David Freese, who walked with one out, is at third. Pete Kozma, who singled through the hole into left field, is on at second. Just getting a piece of it is Carpenter to stay alive.
Oh, with 2 outs and a 2-strike count on Matt Carpenter. Any base hit to the outfield should score Pete Kozma from second base. As soon as he sees that bat start moving, he should start running. It's either going to be a strike 3, a foul ball, or the ball's going to be put into play.
Strike 3, ball gets away from Martin, throws down to first, and the Cardinals lead 2 in scoring position. In the middle of the 5th, still no score in Game 4. NBA basketball returns with an opening night doubleheader on TNT. Derrick Rose makes his return to the court when the Miami Heat host the Chicago Bulls, followed by the Battle of LA. As Morneau on the first pitch grounds out to Matt Carpenter. So it'll be LA, the Lakers, and the Clippers in the second half, 29th, only on TNT. Waka has retired 13 straight hitters. For more on him, here's Matt Wine.
Remember, Michael Wacha's coming off a near no-hitter against the Washington Nationals on the 24th of September. Came 1 out from that, but Mike Matheny told us his stuff was evident way back. All sorts of ways you can get feedback on a young prospect. He got it from the umpires in spring training games, who told him they had never seen a combination of command and stuff from such a young pitcher as they've seen with Wacha. And I think right now the Pirates would probably agree.
I don't think there's any question, Matt. Thank you very much. And Marlon Byrd, the hitter, takes a cut and a miss, and it's 2 strikes to Byrd. 1 out here in the Pirate 5th inning. They have not had a base runner. Wacha struck out 2 in the first, 2 in the second, and 1 in the 3rd inning. Breaking ball, and it's 1-2. Marlon Byrd acquired along with John Buck, the catcher from the Mets, in late August, and had a career high with 24 home runs. Reviving his career, let go by the Red Sox last year. And a fastball, and Byrd strikes out. That's the 6th strikeout for Wacha, and his first since the 3rd inning. Quickly 2 down in the 5th to Pedro Alvarez. Alvarez struck out back in the 2nd inning. Wacha now has thrown 7 straight first pitches for strikes.
11 out of 14 in the ball game for Wacha. Maybe not quite as important for Michael Wacha because he's got a fastball that can miss some bats. Not to mention that changeup that's a really good swing and a miss pitch.
With a big gap between that fastball, miles per hour, and that changeup, and that's really what makes it so effective. Falling behind Alvarez, 2 strikes, or 2-0, 2 balls and no strikes. Carpenter, the second baseman, playing behind second and close to the bag. And now it's 3-0.
Walker's missed up in the zone with that changeup a few times this inning. That's a pitch that he likes to start down around the knees and hopefully bottom out in the dirt.
In the air to right field. Beltran, and called off by John Jay at the last minute. And that'll be a 1-2-3 inning. A little confusion in the Cardinal outfield, but the Pirates are down in order. From the creator of Cougar Town and Scrubs, TBS presents Ground Floor, a brand new workplace comedy starring John C. McGinley. It premieres Thursday, November 14th at 10/9 Central, only on TBS. Leading off is Carlos Beltran. Led off to the 4th inning and drew a walk. 1-0 the count to him. It'll be Beltran, Holiday, and Adams against Charlie Morton. Here in the top of the 6th inning of a scoreless game. That pitch is down low. Last inning, Morton retired the Cardinals, throwing 22 pitches. That's the most any pitcher has thrown in an inning today. Now it's 3-0, and in danger of walking Beltran for the 2nd straight time. Down low, 4-pitch walk. And the leadoff runner is on. Right now, let's go to Atlanta and Keith Olbermann for this Bank of America game break.
Thank you, Dick. Manager Don Mattingly either taking no chances or taking the biggest chance of his career. He has switched starting pitchers for tonight's 4th game against the Braves from Ricky Nolasco to his ace Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw's never pitched before on 3 days rest. Asked about this last night, pitching coach Rick Honeycutt had said of Kershaw, "He's our future. You don't want to mess with it." Dick, back to you.
All right. Interesting stuff, Keith. Thank you very much. Part of our triple header coverage. This is just the start of things. Red Sox and Rays, and then the Dodgers and Braves to follow that game. So here's Matt Holliday, who has singled and was safe on a fielder's choice. And the first pitch, ball 1. So Morton now, Bob, has walked a batter in each of the last 3 innings.
Yeah, just starting to nibble a little bit too much, which you never like to see from a sinker ball pitcher. You'd rather have them start that pitch right in the middle of the strike zone, let the movement take it down and get those ground balls you're looking for. When you try to hit those corners and hit the knees, that's when the ball strays out of the zone.
Fouled off by Holliday. 1-1 the count. Only hits in the game, singles by Matt Holliday in the 1st and Pete Kozma in the 5th for St. Louis. The sun has emerged in the outfield and the left side of the infield briefly here as Beltran gets back.
Now, there was a time you would have to be really concerned with Carlos Beltran on at first base. 308 career stolen bases, a high of 41 back in the 03 season with the Royals, but knee injuries have taken their toll.
And now the pitch is in for the strike, 1-2. Last year, Beltran became the first switch hitter with 300 career home runs and 300 stolen bases.
Not to mention the fact the Cardinals just don't run very much, period. 45 stolen bases on the entire season.
And Carpenter, their leader, with 10. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nobody out. A runner at first base. And a ground ball foul past Alvarez. Mike Matheny's Cardinals needing a win to extend this series to a deciding 5th game Wednesday in St. Louis. And the breaking pitch inside, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes now to Holiday. The Pirates looking to win their first postseason series in 34 years. They beat the Orioles in the 7th game of the '79 World Series. That's the last time they won a postseason series. Fly ball center field. McCutchen going back, way back, and he's looking up, and this is gone. Matt Holliday, in a park not known for the home run, gives it a long drive to center field over the wall. And deafening silence here in Pittsburgh as Holliday giving the Cardinals a 2-0 lead here in the 6th inning, with Beltran scoring in front of him.
Now finally some offense. Matt Holliday gets a pitch down in the zone. Got some backspin on that ball. McCutchen tries to climb the wall out there in center field, but to no avail.
A comebacker by Matt Adams, and that will be the first out here of the 6th inning. Matt Holliday, who has had 8 straight seasons with 20 or more home runs, hit 22 in the regular year. So the walk to Beltran, followed by Holliday's home run, and the Cardinals leading 2-0 here in the 6th, with Molina coming up.
Well, you get the sense the fans here at PNC Park understand that 2 runs is huge the way Michael Wacha is pitching for the Cardinals.
Chop to third. Alvarez. 2 down. Wacha has retired 15 straight Pirates. Now, after a scoreless game till the 6th inning here, Matt Holliday with the home run. John Jay taking ball 1. Two and 0 now to Jay. Bullpen activity for the Pirates. Justin Wilson, the left-hander, and Vin Mazzaro, the righty. And now Morton is behind 3-0. This crowd sitting on its hands right now. Not a sound from them, and another 4-pitch walk, the second one this inning by Charlie Morton. 2 out base on balls to Jay. And Russell Martin out to talk to Morton as Wilson and Mazzaro continue to get ready.
Well, occasionally a sinker ball pitcher can just have too much movement on that sinking fastball. I'm not sure if that's the case with Charlie Morton, or if he's just trying to be too fine around the edges of the plate.
And Clint Hurdle coming out to the mound, and that'll be all for Charlie Morton. He has walked 4 batters in the last 2 2/3 innings. And that'll be all for Morton, who gets a hand as the Pirates trail 2-0.
Keith Olbermann with a Bank of America game break. A's 6, Tigers 3, bottom of the 9th at Detroit. The Rage, Grant Balfour in for the save. 1-2 pitch to Victor Martinez fouled off, and suddenly Martinez goes all Yosemite Sam on Balfour. Saracen pig, Spartan dog. It's Australia versus Venezuela. No punches actually thrown. And now it's 2 out, bottom 9. A's poised to go up 2-1 on Detroit. Buster Olney has tweeted, Balfour called Victor a nerd, it appears. Back to Dick Stockton and Bob Brenly and the Bucks and Cards in Pittsburgh.
Tell you what, nothing would get you going more than to be called a nerd, right, Bob?
Who are you calling a nerd?
I mean, that's fighting words or fighting word.
I've heard a lot worse.
The new pitcher has been Mazzaro, 27-year-old, making his 2nd appearance of the playoffs. Appeared in 57 games in the regular season. In game 1, retired the Cardinals in order, and he struck out David Freese, and Freese is the batter here. with Jay at first base. The 2-run homer by Matt Holliday, his 9th career postseason home run. And first this year against Pittsburgh pitching, giving the Cardinals a big 2-0 lead. Big because Michael Wacha has been perfect thus far. Third baseman Alvarez across to Morneau, and that'll do it. But the 2-run homer by Holliday breaks the tie and gives the Cardinals the 2-0 lead.
Another Bank of America game break. Grant Balfour survives a walk, some swearing, some staring of daggers, and a bench-clearing mixer. Not a brawl per se. Gets Omar Infante to fly out to Josh Reddick for the last out. 6-3 A's the final. A's now lead Detroit 2-1. They get the chance to eliminate them tomorrow. Dick, back to you.
All right, Keith, thank you very much. Russell Martin taking ball 1 here in the last of the 6th inning. Michael Wacha has retired all 15 batters he's faced. He has struck out 6 and has gone to the 3-ball count only twice so far. Two 2-0 pitch. And now for the 3rd time he's gone to 3 balls. He went to 3-0 on Alvarez in the 5th inning. Had a full count against Bird back in the 2nd. Martin looking to get aboard. Clint Barmas on deck hitter, and ball 4. 4-pitch walk. And the first base runner of the game for the Pirates.
Well, we just saw the first walk of the game for Michael Wacha. Let's take a look at some of his strikeouts. He's done most of them with the fastball, just overpowering some of these Pirates fastball hitters. However, he does have that good changeup in his back pocket at all times. We talked about this Pirates team very weak against the straight changeup. Wacha hasn't really had to use it that much up to this point of the game.
So Garrett Jones has come up to pinch hit for Barmas. Tie run at the plate in Jones, who had 15 home runs this season, including one that landed in the Allegheny River, so you know how far that went. Quite a big blow, and he takes strike 1. So Garrett Jones, one of 4 senior members of the current Pirates, who made his debut in Pittsburgh in '09 along with McCutchen, Morton, and Neil Walker. Fouls it off, and Wacha jumps ahead of him 2 strikes. Neither team has had a pinch hitter deliver so far in this series. And striking out is Jones on 3 pitches for out number 1.
That changeup at 88. When your fastball sits at 96, 97, an 88-mile-an-hour changeup is very effective. That time Jones way out in front of that pitch as it tailed off the outside corner.
And now Jordy Mercer is going to come up and bat for the pitcher, Vin Mazzaro.
Well, Mercer's going to have to come into the game to play shortstop anyway, so it was just a question of whether you have your pinch hitter in there for Clint Barmas or if you have Mercer hit for Barmas, but Barmas is in there for his defense. Once again, now he's out of the ball game. Happened in yesterday's game as well.
So the pitcher will hit in the 8th spot, and the shortstop, which will be Mercer, will bat in the 9th position. 1 out and 1 on. 2-0 Cardinals leading here in the bottom of the 6th. Russell Martin with the leadoff walk and a pop-up to shallow center field. Carpenter calling for it, waved off by Jay in center. So Wacha, after walking Martin on 4 pitches, disposes of 2 pinch hitters for the Pirates. There are 2 down, and Top of the order, Starling Marte will come to the plate. Marte popped up and bounced to second. Guarding the line at third is David Freese. 1-0, the count to Marte. Now Freese moves off a couple of feet. Adams at first is holding on Martin. Fastball, 1-1. Cardinals have all the 3 hits in this game, 2 singles and a home run by Matt Holliday. Swing and a miss on the fastball. That one blew by him there, and it's 1-2 to Marte. Another fastball, and it remains 1-2.
This is where, as a hitter, you have to fight the temptation to try to be the hero. I'm going to hit a 2-run home run to tie this ball game. Clint Hurdle talked about that. They tell their guys, don't jump at fastballs, just hit it.
2-2 now to Marte. Waka had retired the first 15 batters until Martin led off with a walk. Then he struck out Garrett Jones, the pinch hitter, and got Jordy Mercer to fly to center field. And now Marte strikes out. That is the 7th strikeout. So Michael Waka doesn't have the perfect game anymore, but still has the no-hitter going. We'll be back. You are watching the 2013 National League Division Series coverage on TBS, presented by T-Mobile. Pirates do not have a hit. Jordy Mercer, who was retired as a pinch hitter, replaces Barmas at shortstop, and the new pitcher is Justin Wilson, who's the only member of the Pirates regular bullpen not used in the first 3 games, making his postseason debut. And the first pitch is ball 1 to Pete Kozma. Kozma has flied out and singled as one of the 3 hits for the Cardinals today. Wilson falls behind now, 2-0. Cardinals looking to extend their lead and send this series to a deciding 5th game Wednesday in St. Louis. Ball strike.
Wilson, another big arm out of that Pirates bullpen. The left-hander fastball average just over 95 miles per hour this year. He'll also throw a cut fastball and an occasional curve.
And a line drive to right field. Coming on and making the catch is Bird. And Kozma is retired. 1 away in the 7th. And here's our innovative stat brought to you by Nissan.
The Cardinals offense that had been so good with runners in scoring position. A couple of home runs in 54 at bats here at PNC Park. In their previous 12 games in this ballpark, no homers in 411 at bats.
Which proves that streaks do come to an end sooner or later. Matt Holliday with the 2-run blast over the center field wall. Some 417 feet. Michael Waka swing and a miss, and it's 1-1 to Waka, who has taking a called third strike and sacrificed his last time up.
Now, Sun back out again. Starling Marte is going to have some issues out there in left field, as will Matt Holliday if the Sun is still out when he takes his position.
And Marte had the Sun exactly in the same spot at about this time yesterday when he had problems with that line drive.
Yep.
Wilson misses. Outside 2-2. Justin Wilson from Clovis, California. He led the National League rookie relievers with 6 victories and an ERA of 2.08. And strike 3, and for the second time today, Walker is called out on strikes. 2 down in the 7th.
You know what, Dick? Nobody cares. I mean, Jim Leland doesn't even want his pitchers to swing in interleague play. He just has them stand up there at the plate so they don't injure themselves or pull a hamstring running down the first base line. Michael Wacha has more important business than to worry about it at bat.
So Matt Carpenter, who is 0 for 3 and has struck out twice, facing Wilson for the first time, and a call strike to him. Again, Carpenter, who had such a tremendous year as the leadoff hitter for the Cardinals this year, has only 1 hit in the series, and that was a single in the opening game. Oh, 0-2 now to Carpenter. Strikes out his second in a row. 1-2-3 inning for Justin Wilson. We go to the home 7th.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
And another record crowd here at PNC Park, 40,493, 4 more than yesterday's throng. But all the attention is down on the diamond where Neil Walker takes ball 1 from Michael Wacha, who has walked 1 batter, is not allowed a base hit. Pirates trailing 2-0 in the bottom of the 7th inning. And it's 2-0 to Walker, who's been retired twice today. On deck is Andrew McCutchen and Justin Morneau to follow. In the air to left field, Matt Holliday. Plenty of room to roam, makes the catch, and Walker is retired. 1 down. McCutchen, who has struck out on a called third strike and then fly to right, coming up.
Well, Michael Wacha today has worked his way through this Pirates lineup with 2 pitches and 2 pitches only. We mentioned at the top of the show he has a curveball that he'll show occasionally. Has not shown one today. All fastballs and changeups.
And time called at the plate. So at this time, the Pirates have only 2 hits against Wacha in 15 1/3 innings this year. And McCutchen on the first pitch skies it to right field, and Beltran makes the play. Quickly 2 down in the Pirates' 7th inning. Cardinals leading 2-0 on Holliday's 2-run homer. Looking to draw even in a must game for them, but the story, Michael Wacha has not allowed a hit. 2 down, and Justin Morneau coming to the plate. He has fouled to third and bounced to second. Ball 1 to Morneau.
Well, you'd have to say up to this point, Michael Wacha has justified his manager's confidence in the rookie taking the ball here for his first postseason appearance, only his 10th start of the entire season.
And incredible when you consider that in his last appearance in the regular season, came within an out of a no-hitter, gave up an infield hit to Ryan Zimmerman. And the Cardinals won that game 2-0. Roller to Cosma and a 1-2-3 inning. And the Pirates held without a hit by Michael Wacha through 7 innings. It's golf's most exclusive event, Major Champions Only, the 2013 PGA Grand Slam of Golf from the Port Royal Golf Course in Bermuda. It all starts Tuesday, October 15th at 4 p.m. Eastern on TNT. It's golf's most exclusive event, Major Champions Only, the Grand Slam of Golf from the Port Royal Golf Course in Bermuda. First pitch to Beltran is pop foul, straight back out of play. Justin Wilson is out for the second straight inning. Beltran has walked twice, grounded to first, so he's 0 for 1 officially today. One and one to Beltran. On deck is Matt Holliday, who was accounted for the Cardinal lead with a mammoth 2-run homer in the 6th. Wilson, the third pitcher of the day for the Pirates. And now it's 2-1 to Beltran. Charlie Morton worked 5 2/3 innings, gave up the 2-run homer, allowed 3 hits. Vin Mazzaro, a third of an inning, and now Wilson, who retired the Cardinals in order in the 7th. In the air, pop to shortstop. Jordy Mercer. And that'll be the first out here in the 8th. And Matt Holliday with the big home run for the Cardinals. First he's hit against Pirate pitching this year, giving them the 2-0 lead.
And Clint Hurdle will leave the lefty Justin Wilson in the ball game here to face Holliday, as well as Matt Adams, the left-handed hitter behind him. Matt Holliday, batting average about equal between righties and lefty opposing pitchers, but only 1 home run against left-handed pitching all year.
Well, that's really surprising when you consider the consistency of the home run power that Holliday has shown the last 8 years. He, by the way, also has a single in the first inning, so he has 2 of the 3 Cardinal hits. Mercer, and Holliday is retired. 2 down here in the 8th inning to Matt Adams. Adams is 0 for 3. Sandwiched around a strikeout are 2 groundouts. Normally we look ahead in the 9th inning when a team is down to their last inning, but we'll look ahead in the 8th. The Pirates will send up Marlon Byrd, Pedro Alvarez, and Russell Martin, the 3 hitters that Bob Brenly talked about at the top of the game who have done the most damage. Ball 1 to Adams. Two and 0 now, and the shift for Adams, and now both Mercer and Alvarez are playing on the edge of the outfield grass. And Walker, who handled a shot to that area perfectly the first time Adams was at the plate. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-1. Two balls and 2 strikes as Adams fouls it off. And Wilson looking to retire Adams in the side here in the 8th inning. Brian Morris working in the Pirate bullpen. Fouls it again away to the left. There's Morris. And the third straight foul ball. Almost in an identical situation for Adams.
Matt Adams been pretty impressive, Dick, against left-handed pitching in this series. He hangs in there tough.
And Adams strikes out, so Wilson retires the side in order. 6 straight for him. We go to the Pirate 8. It's now time for our Geico game summary. Michael Wacha, 7 innings, no hits, a walk. Matt Holliday with the 2-run homer. And another record attendance here at PNC Park as Marlon Byrd fouls off the first pitch for a strike. Byrd has struck out twice, once looking against Michael Wacha, who has faced 22 batters. That's 1 over the minimum, with the leadoff walk in the 6th to Russell Martin, the only blemish. Changeup fouled out of play, and quickly ahead of Byrd, 2 strikes. 85 pitches thrown by Michael Wacha to this point. The most he has in every inning was 16 in the second. The fewest pitches was last inning when he retired the side on just 8. And Byrd strikes out for the 3rd time, and that's the 9th strikeout for Wacha. 1 gone here in the Pirate 8th. You can see the dugout of the Cardinals, Bob, and the anticipation. And we know a lot of pitchers have gone into late innings, including Wacha himself, who went 8 2/3, but you could feel it. Here's Alvarez.
Over his last 16 innings of work, going back to his last start in the regular seasons, 18 strikeouts and 1 hit.
Alvarez fouls off the first delivery. Strike 1. He has struck out and flied to Jay in center. One and 1 to Alvarez. There you see the sun and how it's affecting Matt Holliday, who's shielding his eyes with his glove. And now 2 and 1 to Alvarez.
It's always been a pet peeve of mine, Dick. They make specific sunglasses for baseball, flip down sunglasses. So when the sun goes behind the cloud, you flip them up. When the ball goes up in the air and it's in the sun, you flip them down. Those sunglasses on top of your hat do absolutely no good. They look cool, but they're not very functional.
3 and 1 to Alvarez with Russell Martin on deck, and a fly ball hit deep to right, and this is going to get out of here. There goes the no-hitter, and there goes the shutout.
Boy, if Pedro Alvarez had to ask for a fastball in one location, that would be it. Down over the heart of the plate where he could get his arms extended. No doubt about that one.
3rd home run of the series, and it's now 2-1. And Russell Martin up, crushed. is too far from the Allegheny River.
And obviously, Cardinals manager Mike Matheny knows Michael Wacha a lot better than I do, but in past experience, when guys have a no-hitter and it goes away as quickly as that one did, you got to get that bullpen going right away, and he's got a right-hander cranking it up down there. Things tend to slip away quickly once that first hit gets on the board.
Carlos Martinez is up, and Yadier Molina, ever the great handler of pitchers, goes out, whispered something to Wacha with this crowd roaring and on its feet. 2-0, the count to Russell Martin. And looked like he was going for the downs on that one to try to tie the score. And the count 2-1 to Martin, who has struck out and walked today. In a huge part of the Pirates taking their 2-1 lead behind the plate and at the plate.
And this is not a bad strategy here by Russell Martin. We saw Molina go to the mound to slow things down a little bit and give Martinez some more time to warm up in the bullpen. And Russell Martin having a very deliberate at bat here, trying to slow things down a little bit. Wacha has been in such a great rhythm all afternoon.
He walks. They appealed to Joyce, and Russell Martin walks for the second time, and the tying run is at first, and we're going to have a pinch runner. Harrison is going to run for Martin.
We're very close again. We saw a Matt Holliday check swing earlier in the ball game that looked like he might have gone around, and that time looked like Russell Martin was really close.
And Jose Tabata is going to bat for the pitcher Wilson. Pitcher hitting in the 8th spot, so Tabata will come up as a pinch hitter here. As we mentioned, Harrison, who scored as a pinch runner yesterday for Morneau, has come in there, and here comes Mike Matheny to the mound. And Wacha will lead the game. Lost his no-hitter, his shutout. The tying runs at first. Pinch hitter coming up, and Mike Matheny goes to the bullpen. Michael Wacha working a 7 1/3 innings, giving up 1 hit. The home run to Alvarez, responsible for the runner at first. Josh Harrison running for Martin, who walked for the second time, and Carlos Martinez making his 3rd appearance of the series, was the losing pitcher in yesterday's game. Started the 8th, gave up the double to McCutchen and walked Bird, but coming right back with another 22-year-old rookie. Mike Matheny going with Martinez, and Tabata will be the pinch hitter.
Yeah, Mike Matheny told us that Martinez was probably going to seek him out in the clubhouse today and say that he wanted to get right back in the action as quickly as possible. I don't think even Mike Matheny expected it to be this quickly.
Talking about Martinez, he says he's learning English. He studies English, and he says, I speak Spanish to him and he speaks English to me. And that's how we start to communicate a little better. Inside to Tabata, who's 0 for 2 as a pinch hitter in this series. And 1-0 the count. One and one now to Tabata, who started 73 games, roughly split between left and right field, and he hit .312 over the last 2 months, and was 3rd in RBIs in September for the Pirates. 2-1 to the pinch hitter. Jordy Mercer is on deck. The shortstop batting in the number 9 position. There goes the runner. Pitch swung on and missed, and the throw to second base in time for the out. The throw by Molina on a bounce. And Harrison is caught stealing for the big second out here in the 8th.
Pretty decent jump by Harrison over there at first base. Just a better throw that time by Molina. Nice tag by Carpenter out there at second base. The throw was a little bit to the third base side of the bag.
You think he went into the slide too early?
Well, obviously, when you go into your slide, you start to slow down. But I don't know. It's just a real good play right there. Yeah, I think you're right. He did start his slide a little bit too soon, maybe one step too soon.
So there are 2 out, and the bases are clear, and the count 3 balls and 2 strikes to Tabata. Freeze close to the line at third. And the payoff pitch, strike 3. So Martinez strikes out Tabata. Molina throws out the pinch runner. Pirates get a run on Alvarez's homer, but it's still 2-1 St. Louis to the 9th. You are watching the 2013 National League Division Series coverage on TBS, presented by T-Mobile. Pirates coming up, or the Cardinals coming up in the 9th inning, and Mark Melanson. And John Buck now behind the plate, replacing Russell Martin, who was replaced by a pinch runner. Melanson gave up the tying homer to Carlos Beltran on the first pitch in the 8th inning yesterday. Had only allowed 1 homer on the season.
Big time strike thrower. 71 innings, 70 strikeouts, only 8 walks on the season. Features a cut fastball as his primary weapon.
And Yadier Molina will lead off in the top of the 9th inning. Oh for 3 today. Now the sun should have an effect on Marte in left field. Strike 1 from Melanson, 28-year-old from Golden, Colorado. There is Marte. And looking to try to keep the Cardinals off the scoreboard as we go into the 9th inning, when it'll be Jordy Mercer, the number 9 hitter, then the top of the Pirate order, Marte and Neil Walker. Trevor Rosenthal is warming up for the Cardinals. He's their closer. Now 1-2 to Molina. Scoreless game until the bottom of the top of the 6th inning, when Matt Holliday, after Beltran walked, blasted a home run over the center field fence to give the Cardinals a 2-0 lead. Michael Wacha had a no-hitter through 1 out in the 8th inning before Pedro Alvarez homered. Strike 3. Molina takes a called 3rd strike, and there's 1 gone in the Cardinal 9th.
Cutter right on that outside corner. That's the 5th time in the last 2 ball games that Yadier Molina has led off an inning. Matt Carpenter, the leadoff hitter for the Cardinals, only led off the first at bat of the game both days.
John Jay 0 for 2 with a walk. Misses the fastball. 0-1 to Jay. Cardinals leading 2-1, trying to force a deciding game, which would be played Wednesday at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals have Adam Wainwright, who was outstanding with his breaking ball, his curveball in game one, ready to go this deciding game if they can get to that point. Fouled off. 1-2 to Jay.
A lot of the fans back in St. Louis were wondering why Mike Matheny did not bring back Adam Wainwright on short rest to start this possible elimination game today. Well, I think we've got our answer why.
Still 1-2 to Jay with David Freese on deck for St. Louis. Trevor Rosenthal poised to come in and pitch the ninth for the Cardinals. Change up, getting a piece of it is Jay. Melanson setting a Pirate record for relief pitchers with an ERA of 1.39. Second to Craig Kimbrell, the brilliant closer of the Braves. Two balls, two strikes. Cardinals with 2 runs on 3 hits. Pirates 1 run on 1 hit. Foul tipped into the glove of Buck. 2 strikeouts for Melanson, 2 down to David Freese here in the ninth. Freese today twice has grounded out and walked once. Pitch outside, 1-0 to Freese. 3 hits for the Cardinals, and Matt Holliday with a single and the 2-run homer to account for the Redbirds' lead. Strike, 1-1. Foul ball. Swinging bunt to third. Tough play for Alvarez. Throw to first. Beautiful play by Pedro Alvarez in a 1-2-3 inning for Melanson. And the Pirates come up with their last chance at the bottom of the ninth. Beautiful. What incredible drama here. Do the Cardinals hold on and win, send it to a deciding game? Does Pittsburgh tie it up or take the lead and win the series? And then, of course, Michael Wacha and what he did today.
Boy, what an outstanding job by the youngster Michael Wacha. A lot of people thought he shouldn't have started this game. Mike Matheny told us earlier today he had ultimate confidence in his young right-hander, and boy, was it justified.
Well, now they've got their closer in there, Trevor Rosenthal, here in the ninth, and it's time for our avocado all-star moment. The offensive shot of the game for the Cardinals.
Didn't look like much off the bat in this big ballpark. Andrew McCutchen covers so much ground, it looked like he might be able to get back to the barrier and make the play, but that ball just kept carrying.
So Trevor Rosenthal is on here in the ninth inning. Third pitcher of the game for the Cardinals. Daniel Descalzo has replaced Freese at third base. And Jordy Mercer, who after the pinch hitters came up in the 6th, slotted in the 9th spot, will lead off. And then the top of the order, Starling Marte and Neil Walker. So Rosenthal, who inherited the closer's role from Edward Mexico late in the year.
Well, does this sound familiar, Dick? Big fastball, great straight changeup for Trevor Rosenthal. His average fastball this season just a tick over 97.
Wow. First pitch, ball 1 to Mercer, who is 0 for 1 against Rosenthal. Marte, the on-deck hitter, is 0 for 3 against Trevor Rosenthal. There's a strike, 1-1. So Mercer looking to get aboard as a potential tying run here in the 9th inning. 2 balls and a strike. Rosenthal had 3 saves, all with scoreless efforts since September the 23rd. And he struck out 108. Chasing that pitch was Mercer, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, not only does he throw hard, he's got a very fast delivery. His windup is very quick, kind of jumps at hitters, and then that fastball just exploding in the upper 90s.
And he blows it by him, a fastball, and Mercer goes down for out number 1. Trevor Rosenthal, who pitched the scoreless 9th in game 1, has 1 out.
And nothing tricky when Trevor Rosenthal comes into the ball game. He's just going to try to overpower you with that fastball, especially up in the zone.
Here is Starling Marte, 0 for 3. And that's what he is against Rosenthal, and he lays down a bunt foul. And Descalzo, charging in, had an idea of that. But the bunt goes foul, and the count 1 strike. Cardinals won the first game of the series 9-1. Then the Pirates won 7-1 in game 2 in St. Louis. And yesterday, in a dramatic 2-run 8th for the Pirates, they won 5-3. Came here today on the brink of capturing their first postseason series victory since 1979. But the Cardinals lead by a run. Line drive foul. And now it's 0-2 to Marte. Neil Walker on deck. Michael Wacha pitched 7 1/3 innings of no-hit ball before Pedro Alvarez hit a home run, measured at 438 feet. There was a walk, and that was it for the Pirates' threat. And the count 1-2 to Marte. That one bounced in.
First non-fastball we've seen from Trevor Rosenthal. That was a 90-mile-an-hour changeup that bounced out in front of home plate.
That one was up high. 3-2 to Marte. And a ground ball up the middle. Cosma throws out Marte for the 2nd out. And now the Pirates are down to their last out with Neil Walker coming to the plate. And the Cardinals 1 out away from sending this series to a deciding 5th game.
Ball took a squirrely hop right there at the end of Pete Cosma. He was able to grab it with the heel of his glove and trap it against his body before throwing across in time to get Marte.
So here is Walker, the Pittsburgh native. Takes down low, ball one. Walker 2 for 4 against Rosenthal in his career. Two and 0, and Andrew McCutchen would be next if Walker can keep it alive for the Pirates. Three balls and no strikes. Ball 4 inside, and the tying run is at first base. Walker draws a walk, and Andrew McCutchen coming to the plate. 21 home runs, 84 RBIs, and a .317 batting average this season.
And this place is about to explode. Jim Joyce, working at first base today, said yesterday when he was working out in the middle of the field at second base, it was the loudest crowd he had ever heard. His ears were still ringing after the game. I think it's going to be the same thing again tonight.
You saw the graphic. 2 for 7 is McCutchen against Rosenthal. And it's ball 1, and Molina will go to the mound to talk to Rosenthal. So here we are, one swing of the bat away from a Pirate victory in this series, and 1 out away from the Cardinals advancing to the deciding game against Pittsburgh.
Now Mike Matheny headed out to the mound as well. Nobody warming in the Cardinals bullpen at this point. I think they just want to give Rosenthal a little bit of a breather out there. He's been working really hard this inning, humping those fastballs up there near 100 miles per hour. Really lost his command there to Neil Walker, and a very dangerous hitter here at the plate.
Conference with everybody. These Pirate fans are hoping for something special from McCutchen. And the count goes to 2-0. So Rosenthal having trouble with his location right now.
You see how deep the Cardinal outfielders are playing right now. The possibility that Walker could score from first on a double. The Cardinals outfield trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
3-0. And 1 pitch away from allowing the tying run to move into scoring position. Justin Morneau on the on-deck circle. Fastball down the middle. 3-1 now. McCutchen 0 for 3. And twice is flied out to right. And a fly ball out to shallow center field. Calling for it is Carpenter. He makes the catch. And the game is over, and the Cardinals come out of their dugout to congratulate Rosenthal, as the Pirates had the tying run at first, could not get it done, and the Cardinals, as they've done so many times, Bob Brenly, have come back and forced a deciding game. This is a team that knows how to get back into it.
It certainly doesn't hurt anything to send some of the arms out to the mound that the Cardinals have available, especially Michael Wacha. What a tremendous start for the youngster today.
7-1 now in elimination games are the Cardinals. Final score, Cardinals 2, Pirates 1. For Bob Brenly, Matt Weiner, and the rest of the crew, I'm Dick Stockton saying so long from Pittsburgh. Following a quick break, we'll send you to Keith Olbermann in our Atlanta studio. TBS is your home for the Division Series and the exclusive home of the National League Championship Series.